Déclaration du Front commun. Le Front commun.
Statement from the Common Front.
PPACI,
The Common Front, PPACI, PDCI, and their allies, are GPS, FPI, URD, would like to extend to you, through me, their warmest greetings.
voudrait par
Fellow
ma voix
activists,
vous
since October 11, 2025, we have entered the active phase of our struggle against the violation of our Constitution, for the advent of a rule of law that guarantees individual and collective freedoms in our country. On October 11, 2025, a peaceful march was planned, which was to take us from Saint-Jean to the Sokasi crossroads. Unfortunately, and against all expectations, this march was banned and violently repressed. Several hundred of our comrades were arrested, 237 to be exact, and imprisoned. Others were injured and assaulted. Private homes were raided and violated. This is also the place to warmly congratulate, with special mention, all those who responded favorably, despite the bad weather and the risks, to this call of October 11th, which is a call from the nation. Since that day, not a day has passed without a demonstration in some locality of Côte d'Ivoire, Banua, Bangalo, Akupi, Adsapi, Afiri, Yakasi, Gagnoa, Abidjan, etc. Unfortunately, these demonstrations are not without tears, without pain, and we have recorded the loss of human life. In Banua, a demonstrator, Aloan Ernest, was coldly shot dead at close range. In Gagnoa, a young student, in the prime of life, was fatally struck by a national police vehicle. But what is most pitiful, is the death of this baby, an innocent being who died at home, in the May region, where tear gas was fired. This baby died of suffocation. It could have been the baby of one of us. It could have been our family. And it's truly sad. This is the place to draw the attention of our law enforcement. Our defense and security forces. They must not treat us as enemies. We are not the enemies of the Ivorian army. We are not the enemies of the Ivorian gendarmerie. We are not the enemies of the national police. We are Ivorians just like all other Ivorians other than political parties. They must not massacre us. Our army must not massacre us. Our police must not open fire on us. Our gendarmerie must not torture us, inspire fear and terror in us. That is not their mission. All the more so since we contribute, as citizens through our taxes, to clothing them and providing them with adequate material, means to carry out their sovereign mission. And they must carry out their mission fairly towards all citizens of this country, whether or not they are activists of the ruling party. We cannot all think the same thing, but it is not because we do not think the same thing that we are destined to be tortured, martyred, and persecuted. In any case, our law enforcement officers understand that their individual criminal responsibility is engaged in the actions they commit. And these deaths that we have recorded will not go unpunished. The Common Front and its allies are working. The Common Front and its allies are working to build cases and we will file complaints. We will file complaints so that the culprits are identified and face the full force of the law. No crime in the 21st century goes unpunished in this global village to which we belong. We hope that in the future, our law enforcement agencies will understand this republican, humanitarian, and fraternal call and that they will carry out their missions in accordance with the principles of the Republic. We recently witnessed angry demonstrations in France. French people demanded Macron's departure. There were violent, sometimes brutal, clashes, attacks on the personal safety and integrity of the French defense and security forces. But we never saw any loss of human life. We did not see police officers draw their weapons or open fire on demonstrators. Even so, they often found themselves in a difficult position, in difficulty. Why is there this tendency here in Africa, and particularly in Côte d'Ivoire, to crush opposition activists? Why is there a tendency to marginalize opposition activists? No, we are not marginalized. No, we are not second-class Ivorians, to whom everything is forbidden in this country. We have a unique constitution, and this constitution guarantees us rights, and we intend to exercise these rights. And you, as law enforcement officers and agents, have a duty to protect us when we exercise our constitutional rights. I hope we have been heard, and that such things will not happen again in the future. For we are brothers and sisters, first and foremost. Thank you for listening to me. When the senior leadership of the Common Front launched the plan for the march on October 2, 2025, for the 11th, immediately, a few days later, we received a summons from the police headquarters to appear, pronto, at the Directorate of General Investigations for a case concerning us, to be heard. I recall that just a few days earlier, we had been summoned again by the public prosecutor at the Abidjan Court of First Instance, to deliver a message, according to him. But this message was nothing other than threats that were uttered against us. The public prosecutor openly threatened us and said that he would hold us personally responsible for any movement, any demonstration that took place anywhere in Côte d'Ivoire. We asked the public prosecutor what information he had. What evidence did he have? What grounds for his certainty that we were perpetrators, accomplices, if demonstrations did indeed take place? He was unable to answer this question. He asked us to make good use of his warnings. And so, when on October 6, just a few days after his threats, when we received a summons from the police headquarters, we imagined and knew what that meant. And so, we did not respond to that summons. We decided, with full knowledge of the facts, with full responsibility, not to respond to that summons. Because responding to that summons means surrendering ourselves, hand and foot to the regime. Responding to this summons would mean taking ourselves prisoner. Responding to this summons would therefore be capitulation. We therefore decided not to respond and to adopt a stance of combat and resistance. And since that day, the police have been after us. The hooded men are after us. They're on the hunt to get their hands on us. Not long ago, a second summons arrived. But today, I'm asking myself why this relentlessness? Why this harassment? Why do they want to get their hands on me at all costs, to arrest me? What have I done? In any case, as General Coordinator of the Common Front's Operational Committee, I have decided to take responsibility and continue the fight, to continue the fight come what may. And I am waging this fight with you, at your side. I haven't fled. I don't have the soul of a fugitive. I do not have the soul of a traitor. I do not have the soul of someone who is intimidated. So I invite you, starting now, because we are about to enter the decisive phase of this fight, we are about to enter the final moments of this fight, I invite you to be much more determined, much more willing, much more committed, all of you. The Common Front calls you. Its allies, the RGPS, the Ivorian Popular Front, and all Democrats, call on you to occupy the streets peacefully, with discipline, with order, and with a Republican spirit, as you have always known how to do, especially on this August 9, 2025. It is a right. You are not breaking the law. It is a constitutional right that you are exercising. Young people, women, adults, workers, students, Democrats of all backgrounds, you are invited to occupy the streets peacefully. Whether in the entire district of Abidjan, or even throughout the interior of the country, in the major cities of the interior, all Ivorians are invited to occupy the streets peacefully. I wanted to tell you with assurance, I wanted to reassure you, and I wanted to calm those who have an ounce of doubt in them that never, never today more than yesterday, are we so close to victory and deliverance. I repeat, I wanted to tell you with faith, conviction, and to reassure those who might be tempted to be overcome by doubt that never, today more than yesterday, are we so close to victory and deliverance. But the ball is in your court. The ball is in our court. And the salvation of this country, the rebirth of this country lies in our hands, in your hands. Dare to act. Dare to demonstrate. Dare to win and triumph. Dare to act. Dare to demonstrate, to triumph and win. To triumph and win. I know that the patriotic spirit lives within each of you. I know when each of you, from the depths of your being, wants things to change in Côte d'Ivoire. And there is a sort of inner call that never ceases to nag you, asking you to do something for your country, to do something for your nation. Listen to that silent voice. Listen to that vibration that shakes your soul. It is the call of the nation. It is Côte d'Ivoire's call to regain its balance. To regain its legitimacy, its legality. To regain its soul. To regain its joy of living together. To regain the rule of law, which ensures that every citizen, regardless of their position in the country, respects the law and is subject to the law. President Laurent Gbagbo, the president of the PPACI, our charismatic leader, Minister Tidjane Tiham, president of the PDCRDA, Prime Minister Pascal Affi N'Guessan, Prime Minister Guillaume Soro Kigbafori, and all the leaders are with you, are with us in this fight. I therefore call on all the leaders of the Common Front, the GPS, the FPI, the federals, the section leaders, the deputy secretaries general, the regional coordinators, the departmental delegates of the PDCI, the delegates of the PDCI districts, all the leaders, each in their zone, in their region, in their department, that all organizations coalesce, to come together to organize the resistance locally. For the homeland, we are ready for any sacrifice. For the homeland, we are ready for any sacrifice. For the homeland, we are ready for any sacrifice. Cheer up, everyone in the streets until the triumph of the rule of law in Côte d'Ivoire. Thank you.